Hey everyone, my name is Shanice and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be recommending some books that I think thematically work with Taylor Swift's latest album, The Tortured Poets Department, which came out I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. Of course, a few hours after it was released, Taylor announced that actually it was a double album, and so the double album is The Tortured Poets Department, the anthology. The first part has 16 songs, the second part has 15 songs. It runs a total of 2-ish hours, and so this video is mainly focused on the first half, so like the original album release. Just to give you a general sense, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I don't think this album is as bad as everyone is making it out to be. I think, you know, there are catchy songs, good grooves, nice melodies. I was under the impression, because of the title, because of how the album was marketed by Taylor, but also by the media, you know, I was expecting really deep poetry, something akin to literature, needing to study it and analyze it as you would a text in a graduate class or as an English student or something like that. That's not at all what this album is. You know, there's no denying that Taylor can write a song. She has a knack for writing melodies and all of that. I can't say that the metaphors here fully work. Tattooed golden retriever, I think we needed to workshop that one a little bit more. Other images, you know, comparing a relationship to being abducted by an alien and other things, you know. The songs themselves have good melodies and I like them, but it's not elevated lyricism as I was expecting, to be honest. That's speaking for the first album, the first half of this double album, I guess. The second half, the anthology, which I'm not really going to be speaking on today, that part is more akin to what I expected the album to be, and I actually think it's better overall than the first half, like much better, miles better. I'm actually quite surprised that some of the songs in the second half are not singles or not being talked about more. Generally speaking though, the books that I will be recommending today I think fit the mood, the atmosphere of this album. I quite like that each of her albums has like a new era, a new aesthetic, a new vibe. So I think, thematically speaking, the books I'm about to talk about fit very nicely with this album. Some of the main topics that Taylor is talking about in this album are short, fleeting relationships, miscommunication, lots of drama, the hyperbolic way that you can express your own story, your feelings, everything is fully felt. So it can be a little histrionic sometimes, but also the need for storytelling in your own recovery and introspective process. I think that's what Taylor was using this album for, to kind of release a lot of what she had in her mind. And of course, poetry kind of sprinkled here and there. So the first book that I'm going to recommend that I think fits this theme very, very well is Sleepwalking by Meg Wolitzer. I think this is like perfect if you're going for the vibe of this album. This is actually Meg Wolitzer's debut novel. She published it when she was just 23 at Brown. And so it's about 3 death girls. They call themselves this. They dress in all black because they're each obsessed with a dead poet. And not just any poet, but poets who had committed suicide. These 3 girls, they meet at night and they read the poetry of these authors out loud to each other. They're obsessed. And then suddenly one of the girls meets this mysterious guy named Julian. And that is really where the plot takes off. I don't think I need to do too much explaining because just from the summary, it's a perfect book to match up with just the mood and the vibe of this album. And then the next book I'm recommending is Open Water. I believe I've recommended this before. It's by Caleb Azuma Nelson. I loved this book. It's very short. It is about a very short relationship. And the book itself deals a lot with music. The characters in it are trying to process what they feel as it relates to music and their own culture and the lives around them. And actually the writer, Caleb, this is what he said of the writing experience. It came about as I was trying to afford my grief and in turn myself more form and detail. I didn't want to feel so hazy anymore. So I was spending a lot of time at libraries, gallery spaces, cinemas, concerts, trying to go past the level of knowing towards feeling and asking where those feelings come from. That's a question which is written throughout Open Water. How do you feel? Caleb Azuma Nelson is using writing as his lifeline to figure things out about himself and to explore his feelings as honestly as possible, which is everything that this album pretty much stands for Taylor. I had to recommend this next one, called Florida by Lauren Groff. This is a collection of short stories all centered around the state of Florida. There is a song on this album, of course, called Florida with 3 exclamation points. It's almost like the character of the song is one of the characters in this book. The writing is witty, it's a little bit weird, there's rage, there's sadness. It just explores all of these emotions. There's a dynamic shift between each story, kind of like the dynamism in the structure of this song. The titular song mentions Patti Smith, and so I am recommending Wool Gathering by Patti Smith. This is a work of nonfiction memoir, and she basically tells the story of why she became an artist, of exploring a career path of wool gathering when she was younger, of basically finding writing as a way to capture fleeting memories and thoughts. And from, I think, even just a cursory knowledge of Taylor Swift, she is very open about like capturing voice memos and just waking up in the middle of the night and humming a melody that came to her head. So like songwriting and writing for her is also a way to just capture a fleeting thought, which I thought matched very well with this book. And also she mentions Patti Smith, so this is perfect. And of course I have to recommend some poetry. So the more obvious tortured poet that I could recommend is Sylvia Plath. Her collected works, you know, take your pick. I am also going to recommend Elizabeth Bishop's poems. The Mothman is one of my favorites, but she is a poet that I think should be talked about a little bit more. She's not underrated by any means, but I feel like we haven't elevated her to as high a level as she should be. And lastly, I'm going to recommend Belladonna by Ambara Salam. This is more of the academic setting that I think matches the academia of the album. It's not dark academia, it's barely light academia, but it is set in a boarding school, in an art history school, where 2 young ladies who are from Connecticut, they get accepted to this prestigious boarding school in Italy, and we just kind of follow their friendship, the drama of growing up. This is about love, about loss, failed love, and kind of the loss of that love, of people in our lives, about secrets, about family disapproval of certain relationships, about feeling like you can change people. I can just hear so many songs from the album that match this. I mean, But Daddy I Love Him, I Can Fix Him, No Really I Can. It's also looking at female friendships, the way women are pitted against each other, so you can even put Clara Bow in here too. There's the sadness of Down Bad. Like, this book is just, it works with this album. And yeah, this was a quick video, but I just wanted to talk about some recommendations that have been on my mind since I've been listening to the Tortured Poets department. Like I said, I don't think it's this horrible album. I listened to it right before I filmed this video, and I've listened to it many, many times since it's come out. It's fun. I love some of the songs on there. The other songs that I don't love, I like, and I can listen to them. I don't really skip them. Not her best album, but still keeps me excited for what's next, and the anthology is even better. So if anything, listen to the second half of the double album and you know, you can listen to the first, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. I will see you all next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.